Hey everyone, Merry almost Christmas. I figured I'd do a video on Saturday like I always do, and then probably skip Christmas Day. I need some time with my family, but this is a good time to jump into a video, and then if you're not ready for Christmas, start panicking and stuff, because my goodness, you got no time left, buddy. 2 days. You gotta be better than that when it comes to buying gifts. So last year I made this Fjord Christmas truck. Basically, I was trying to emulate the classic Christmas truck. It's always a Ford truck. This thing looks really cool. The lights on the back of the tree actually light up pink, which is super cool, but it's slow and kind of lame. So you know what? Let's up it this year. We're going to mess with this truck significantly. I'm thinking engine swap, I'm thinking big V8, I'm thinking way too much power. It's going to be a drift truck by the time we're done. Let's get to it. So the truck itself is 1946, which really does not leave us a lot of room for improvements, so I'm not going to improve anything. It's going to stay the way it is, but we're going to do a brand new engine, and that engine is going to be in 2020, which is the newest you can get in this game. I should say I'm not using my normal office space right now. I'm in a temporary place because soon I'll be in my studio that I've been building for the past year. It's been a long process, but I should be able to get it done this Christmas break, and I'll give you a tour when I do finish it. But I'm just trying to excuse any weird noises that are going on because as of right now, there is no door on this room that I'm in, so there could be anything out there. Alright boys, classic 90-degree V8. Let's make it a billet aluminum. Okay, we're pushing away from the classics a little bit, but it'll still be pushrod. So it's a billet aluminum with aluminum head, pushrod engine, which is very odd, but I like it. 4 liters is probably not enough. I want pretty much the biggest engine that we can get while maintaining rear wheel drive, and apparently that is a nearly 11 liter V8. Because it's Christmas, I'm feeling generous. Let's up the quality to plus 15 and increase the displacement even further, plus 500 cc's, why not? Basically for this engine, I'm giving it the best possible combinations of things that I can think of. The best of the best of the best of the best of the twin turbos with a ridiculous intercooler best. Obviously we're going direct injection with ultimate fuel. I really want to just push this V8 to the absolute limits. There's really no reason for this, I just want to do it. Turbo headers with basically the most insane setup you've ever seen. No cats or mufflers or anything like that. Emissions don't matter when you're driving this type of thing. And we're making a cool 1090 horsepower with 2098 newton meters of torque. There's a lot of room for improvement here. So there's some new stuff in the game because they just put out an update, and that's always good. And the beta branch is actually in the regular branch now, so if you haven't seen any of the new stuff, you're going to be seeing it soon if you play this game. One of the new things is that there's gearbox limits for strength now instead of just power. But this thing has such good components that it really doesn't matter. Alright, let's go race setup on the turbos, which means we're basically making the same power. The RPM limit is just way too low at the moment. We could get up to, what's this? We could get up a lot higher than we're at. Yeah, the conrods kind of start to die out around 6100 RPM, but that does leave us with 1338 horsepower, which is not bad. So I realized one of my mistakes, and I was running regular fuel, like blah, what the heck? Even the best fuel does not compare to the ethanol, so we're going ethanol now, and I'm going to AI tune it for power and see what we can get. AI was unable to tune the engine into a working state, wow. Not even the AI can fix this garbage. Okay, let's see. Conrods are titanium. What about forged heavy? That is worse. Man, I love new updates. You can see we have an absolute ridiculous restriction in the intercooler and compressor and literally everywhere. So probably part of the issue is that we only are running 2-inch exhaust right now. So I'm going to increase that. There we go. That's a lot more power just kicking around. Intercooler is also very restrictive. Same thing with the compressor. And when things are restrictive, they also tend to get hot. So you can see the temperature there is causing issues. One of the things though, obviously this game is still early access, so expect to have issues. As soon as I turn this up a little too much, it starts to grenade. At least it was previously. There. You can see we hit the piston reliability threshold, and then the engine absolutely goes to a mountain range. So I don't know what to do about that. but our intercooler might be forever too small at 1500 horsepower. The headers are getting too hot. It might be a bit of a problem. Now the manifold is an issue with 25 degrees Celsius. I think we could probably get a better manifold than that. Size matters, apparently, so just make the manifold bigger and do it for temperature purposes, apparently. Anyways, let's see what this does. The compressor is still way too restrictive, and the turbine is also huge. Let's see if we increase this. A lot more power. That's actually doing good with some stuff here. 1600 horses. Our intercooler's not as bad anymore. It still is way too restrictive, but it is better than it was. Now, if I increase it, is it going to screw up the engine? That's my real question. Okay, this is looking a lot nicer now. Apparently, you have to care a lot more about these graphs than you used to. Still, we have piston reliability issues, and I'm kind of running the best pistons that I can at Forged Light. I guess we could try Forged Heavy. But then that kills the conrods, so it's hard to know what the best course of action is here. So even with a harmonic dampener on this setup, we can still only get up to 4600 RPM, and I think that is probably going to be the thing that pushes me into something better than push rods. I'm being pushed out of push rods. Even with dual overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder, which is really good RPM, we're still having problems. So let me try this. Let's try I don't know, forged? This is one of the reasons why I want parts that are basically invincible in this game, and it's because of stuff like this where I'm trying to balance everything, but then we have conrods that are basically broken, so it's a sandbox, right? I'd love to be able to just click into a thing here. Like you can see, we have flat plane cranks, which is another little switch here. There's actually a ton of options for flat plane. Wow, that is cool. If I could just switch just like that and then put on, like, unbreakable, that would be so good. That would be really fun. You know what, turbos suck. We're going naturally aspirated. I took the turbos off because it just wasn't working. 1300 horsepower with 1703 newton meters of torque. Much lower RPM. We're still running dual overhead cam. The engine looks pretty ridiculous. It's not exactly extraordinary, but I am running a flat plane crank, which I think is going to be really cool in this vehicle. So that being said, are we done with the engine? I think so. It's just time to make it maybe a little bit more aesthetic for the Christmas purposes. Oh yes, that is properly ugly, but that's just what Christmas is all about. Okay, so now that this truck is sporting an 11.4 liter V8, which only makes 1,300 horsepower, despite being 11.4 liters. Don't worry about that, that's just the American way. Basically, what we need to do is get it ready for that, because it has terrible wheel spin, every little thing with it is wrong, and it's also having to stick with 1940s stuff, which sucks. So I'm going to try to... maybe we should up the trim, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get any wheels that'll actually fit on this well. Let's just go straight to that. So cross-ply race. That's not gonna work. We're upping the year of the trim to 2020 to get us the best options we can get. Okay, so it's still a 46 truck, but it has 2020 stuff like a 2020 engine and 2020 trim, which allows us to put on radial race tires, and that means we can go for a lot of options. This is new stuff, by the way. This is not stuff that was in here before. We got drag tires, we got soft, hard, medium. I did those in reverse. Intermediate, wet, and rally. Ooh, that looks really cool. But I think awkwardly, so rally tires are apparently worse off-road than drag tires. Am I reading that right? What is going on here? I'm just gonna go straight drag tires. I feel like that's probably the best way to go. We're gonna have very, very little turning ability, but it doesn't matter because I just want to try this out for the first time. We're going drags. Now, wheel spin, is that an issue? I can guarantee that that's an issue. I don't even see rear grip on here. I think that's how bad it is. The rear grip line is gone. Let's increase the size of those rear tires. There's the rear grip line way down there. It's not good. So one of the things I don't want to do is like widen the truck and ruin its basic aesthetics. I kind of want to make it seem like a resto mod, only it's just been done really well, basically. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go for the maximum tires we can get on there, which is 265s on the back. That's really not that big. I wish that they could be bigger than that, but apparently not. So we'll drop on some 17s, I guess. This is going to be very much my style. I know not everybody shares the same like of big wheels, but I like big wheels, what can I say? Also, that sportiness and drivability, mint. That's really good. Okay, let's try to get the rest of the body set up here. So body quality is kind of important. I'm going to increase that just to give us a better chance of having good weight distribution and such. In terms of colors and such, it's already good. Like, I don't really see any reason to change. The rims themselves, though, I think are going to need to be different than this. Let's go white rims. White rims with red paint is really cool. I like that a lot, and I think it's going to be really nice on this truck. Other than that, though, she's staying the same. Now, the rims themselves are currently super old school style. I do want to keep the old school feel, but I don't know, that's a little bit too new. I don't want to go for like big dub style wheels. I want to keep it old looking. Don't look too close, but those are Rotiform wheels, and they just happen to have an older aesthetic to them, so yeah, again, don't look too close. I am going to put a trailer hitch on here. I had an idea for that, and I was like, hey, why don't we like tow some stuff? But we'll see. First of all, though, you got to go 3D with this. Drag it out a little bit further, otherwise it's going to be far, far too deep. So this is the lowest that the truck will go with its current setup, which is unfortunate. And it is rocking like leaf springs and stuff. There isn't really much we can do about that other than modify the suspension drastically, because I believe it's leafs on the front and leafs on the back. That is super, super old school. I'm gonna just have to do that aesthetic with the advanced settings instead. Alright, so our claimed top speed at the moment is 237, it's late at night, 237 kilometers an hour. I think I can do better than that. Apparently we can actually go all the way up to all-wheel drive, but I want to keep it rear just for the sake of it. Let's do sequential, just because it doesn't mash the clutch stuff with beamng. 3 speeds is not enough, we're gonna go 7 speeds. And that'll give us a lot more gearing. Hopefully going to increase the drivability of this thing as well, because at the moment it is a little jank with the 3-speed. Now that does increase reliability. Our torque is still ridiculous, and sportiness. Oh, 0 to 100 in 2.3 seconds, so let me just put that out there. So top gear, we're going to need to be increasing this. I believe we can do a lot more than what it is stating. 200 and what? 300 kilometers an hour? Can we do more? Can we do more? That's a yes, apparently. Okay, we're finally ellipsing it. You can see here, this is our top speed line, and this is our top gear. 356 appears to be the best I can do, but this alone is going to increase things in the right direction. So first gear is a pitiful 37 kilometers an hour. That's probably how we're getting up to 100 so quickly. That is interesting. Also, open diff, let's go LSD. That's going to make a big, big difference, and hopefully fix some of the wheel spin issues. Okay, that is a huge improvement. First gear goes up to 60 k's an hour, almost double what it was previously, and we still have the 356 top speed. I am good with that. With the LSD, it should be able to hook up. We're still getting ridiculous acceleration. This truck is not particularly heavy. It's 1,500 kilos. Again, it's got 1,300 horsepower, so it should be fine. Now, there are a few other aesthetic changes I wanted to make, but I really just wanted to make all this stuff change first. We're running drum brakes. That is... wow, the back is actually good enough, but the front is not. Let's upgrade it to vented discs with 4 pistons. That should stop it, perhaps. If brake fade is a bit of a problem. I'm going to decrease the rear force significantly, and then I'm going to up the size of these drums. So we'll up the size, or we'll up the rear force a little bit, but it doesn't need to be very high. The pad type is probably our best option next, so upping that to 100, which is race. Honestly, this shouldn't be a slider. It should really just be like a pickup pad instead. I know this gives more options, but like this doesn't mean anything. Let's oh man, this is tough. We're still suffering from brake fade issues, but I think that's just how it's gonna have to be. Also, this thing does not have ABS. You know, I'm gonna make a concession here, and I'm gonna put traction control on it. That by itself is going to make a big difference. Okay, back to the fixtures. So there's some stuff I want to do. Mainly, I want to take the body and lower the ride height significantly. It's actually -6 already. So let's just keep going down, maybe -12 on the front and the rear. Do you think that it needs more lowness than that? Probably, honestly, probably. I'm going to tuck those wheels at -18 on the front and the back. I actually think the track width is a little bit too wide, so I'm going to shrink that here as well. You can see the chassis track width. We can just shrink that down, and then the wheels sort of get sucked onto the inside. That is super, super cool. That is really, really mint looking. I like it a lot. See, never would I have thought that I'd be shrinking a track width, but here we are. There's some other stuff we can do as well, like offset the entire body itself and then lower just the body, so the chassis is kind of up high in it. It doesn't, I mean, it's not a perfect solution, but yeah, people do body cuts and stuff, so it's cool to have that option. Now, another thing that I want to do is this exhaust is going to have to be dual now, because this engine is a lot larger than it was. Let's also kind of just center out the back a little bit more. Okay, so I made a couple very subtle changes. The back is now black instead of the red that it was, although, I don't know. I just thought it was a little bit too red, but now it is less red. And the exhaust is different. It has a Texas plate instead of New York. And I think the last thing is probably just some kind of badges and decals on it, like something on the side, like whatever tree service, and then send it. Actually, well, I still have to do the rest of the stuff, don't I? So I saved you the pain of having to listen to me do the rest of that. But it's time for BeamNG, so let's get into it. It's time to test this thing out. Let's see if it drives. It might not, honestly. There's only one way to find out, though. Alright, so this is what the truck looks like in BeamNG, and I completely forgot to show you one of the most important features, and that is if you hit N, the Christmas tree lights up. Hey, it actually lights up with the headlights, I believe, so yeah, as much as I've screwed up the lights on the back of the truck, at least the Christmas lights on the bed still light up, and they look really cool. So let's drive around with that. Now, I have tested this very briefly on a snow map, which I found very quickly was an awful idea as we were running drag tires, but one thing I noticed with these drag tires that I've not seen in this game is that this thing hooks up so well. It is an absolute monster. Like, even I thought the wheel spin was going to be a huge problem, and it definitely is, but it just hooks up so hard with the drag tires on. I don't know what to say. I guess that is a true improvement. Now, I am running ESC, so maybe that's helping. Start the thing up again, and without ESC, we're still, I mean, the gears on this thing are way too short, but this map is not big enough for this, and the frame rate is absolutely dying now. Okay, the lights are screwing up the frame rate, no doubt about that, so let's keep those off. I'm going to try to drive like a civilized human being and attempt to get to the real raceway instead of wherever I have been this entire time. The real raceway is over there, but I believe that we can get to it just cutting in over here somewhere. That being said, the street manners of this truck are basically non-existent. The gearing is too short. It can go 0 to 100 in like 2 seconds, so it is ridiculously fast. That is Tesla fast. Ooh, there's the actual drag thing over there. See if we can't just sneak onto it. There we go, there's the skid pad. Now this is where we were meant to be. Oh my goodness, it has so much grip the thing will roll over if you turn too hard. Now that is cool. I was originally going to do a thing where I'm like delivering gifts and stuff, but it's so uncontrollable that I don't think that that is a reasonable option, which is fine. It will just kind of do a tour around the track and see if I can keep it together. Oh my goodness, it is very, very flippy. Wow. And the lights just decided to come on for some reason. That is beautiful. Elegant. So one thing I'm kind of curious about with this is if I just hammer the fronts and run the backs. Oh yeah, it'll still do a decent burnout, but it hooks up so good that like this might be one of the fastest drag vehicles I've made, and you know we kind of have to test that too. But for drifting purposes, third gear probably is the right way to go. It is very, very tippy. I should have lowered the center of gravity somehow because it just rolls over at even the slightest drift attempt. I suck at drifting, but I think that might have been the vehicle more than me. Yeah, one thing that sucks about the low RPM is you really can't hear that flat plane scream like you should be able to. The flat plane cranks sound best when they're at like 11,000 RPM. This thing only goes up to like 56 or something. It's just not enough to really hear it breathe, which is disappointing, but you know, that's just how it is. Probably the reason that it was struggling so much is because of the way that I bored and stroked it. Literally just wanted to make it the biggest displacement it can be, but that isn't always the most efficient engine size. Bigger is not always better in this case. Sometimes you need to make it a little bit smaller in order to be more powerful. Also, oh man, every time we crash, the lights go on. No idea why that is. Out of curiosity, I've come to the West Coast map. You can see I laid down a strip of rubber. That was actually done with the minivan I made in a couple episodes ago, as I was backing up just to get clear of this. But let's try it. Oh yes, quarter mile, please and thank you. Let me view some of those details. What can we do with this? Now, the best time I have ever gotten here is 7.5. That I think we might be able to beat. And my opponent will be myself, I guess, because why not? Let's go for it. We're going to do a one-on-one, me versus the computer. Who can win in their white version of my truck? It's really cool that it picks a different color, by the way. Oh man, every time you hit the brake lights, the frame rate dies. That is not good. Okay, ready? Oh my goodness, the frame rate when I took off there was absolute trash. Probably because both of our lights were on. 9 seconds and 9.5. I got a 9.2. Okay, it's not quite as good as I thought it was going to be, but it's still pretty darn good. Like, that is a really good score. I don't mind that at all. Genuinely, when I was running this truck around, it just felt like an absolute rocket. Like, it just feels super, super fast. Again, the frame rate dies when you put the brakes on, so you know that this thing's built right. Oh. A little bit too much grip, maybe. What happened? Oh, okay. The entire back axle's broken. Yeah, that's brilliant. Okay. Let's try that again. That last launch was so powerful, we shot the back axles completely off. I'm going to try this again with no ESC. I believe that's probably holding me back, especially on grip issues. Ready, ready, ready. Oh, it did it again. That is not what you want to see at the drag strip. Okay, well, I think my drag racing career is over. Yeah, honestly, with a dual clutch, this thing would be faster. Like, the way that it works now, it just... I don't know. It's so hard to keep it going because it needs to shift so often. It doesn't have enough spacing to really capitalize on its speed. I don't know. It may be too many gears, a little bit too close to spacing, but it's okay. It's fun to drive. So, what do you think of the upgraded Christmas truck? It is definitely improved, at least in some aspects. In terms of speed, it is vastly improved, but in terms of drivability, that is highly questionable. I have probably damaged it in ways that I cannot comprehend, and also my frame rate is absolutely loving the amount of lights that can pop out on this thing. Too many lights on the tree mean this thing goes down to 30 FPS. Maybe it's time for a new graphics card. Speaking of money, I just wanted to say that, yeah, thank you to everybody who's been supporting me over this year. It's been a wild year in terms of YouTube stuff. Some good, some bad, but I've been having a lot of fun and I'm still enjoying making these videos, so count me in for another year or more. Yeah, like I said, I really enjoy this, so if you're interested in seeing more stuff from me, be sure to check out my Patreon, check out my YouTube join button stuff. That is where people donate a little bit and they help support the channel to afford things like what you'll see coming up soon in the new year. Once I finish my other projects, I'm going to be putting out some Tiburon videos, and it's going to be very, very exciting, so I'm super hyped for that. But I gotta finish like 18 projects this next 10 days or so in order to get there, so give me a little bit of a break, and then I will come back strong. If nothing else, be sure to... Oh my goodness, every time I hit the brakes, the frame rate dies because the brakes are tied to the lights. Ah, no wonder this is so choppy. That's That's brilliant. Anyways, thank you for watching this video, guys. Just appreciate a comment and a like and whatever else you got to do these days. Yeah, follow me on YouTube. That's pretty much the only place I post. Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. I'll see you guys again soon. More videos to come. Probably have one more before the new year, and then that'll be that. Also, I have a bit of a surprise for you if my wife and I get to filming it, hopefully soon. We have a sort of an IRL video you guys might find funny. It'll be up first on Patreon and on the YouTube supporters thing, and then it'll be out on YouTube too, and I'll do a couple shorts on it as well. So, that's the plan, boys. See you again soon, and yeah, flip a barrier or two. Maybe not on Christmas, though. That's a dangerous proposition. See you soon.